So this morning, we're going to kick off our keynotes with two people who really need no introduction. They are part of, and in fact, all of it is behind the Percona Live MySQL Conference and Expo. So let's go ahead and hear from, this morning, Peter Zaitsev, CEO of Percona, of course, and we all know him as an expert in, oh, you get more than that, Peter, come on. You don't need an introduction, but you get more. Oh. We all know him as an expert in performance and scaling, and a special expertise in hardware and internals. He's also an author on the second and third editions of the MySQL High Performance book, which we all got as part of this, which I think is fantastic. And joining him this morning is going to be Baron Schwartz, who is the chief performance architect here at Percona, and he is also the lead author on the second and third editions of the High Performance MySQL book. So let's give it up for Peter and Baron.
Okay. Hi. So I have the pleasure of giving this open keynote, and that's the first keynote for me at this scale, so I will be nervous most likely. So before we start, I wanted to cover two topics. First, once again, I wanted to make sure we thank our sponsors. And Sarah said all the big words. I will just sum it up what we love you guys. Thank you for being here. And thank you for sponsoring this event. The second small topic I wanted to cover is to talk a bit about this conference and its kind of place in MySQL, the ecosystem. As many of you know, what this conference was almost not going to happen, right? We know what after many years of having this conference, where Oracle wasn't going to support it, and O'Reilly didn't announce this conference to run this year. So we decided we just had to step in and do this. This wasn't really their easiest step for us. We are a small company, and it takes phenomenal management time commitment and financial commitments to do this stuff. But I'm sure glad we did. We had very good attendance. We really get a lot of your support, and thank you for that. And then I also wanted to really thank Sarah Novotny, who really helped us to lead the speaker selection committee and pile through about 300 submissions to get to the great talks we have here. Finally, I would say we have an amazing post-conference schedule this year. On Friday, we have MariaDB and SkySQL Solutions Day, Drizzle Day, and Sphinx Day, and I'm hopeful you will have a chance to attend those events. These are really great. Okay. Now going back to the MySQL evolution. I think we went through a very stressful period in the MySQL ecosystem. Over the last 5 or 7 years, MySQL, or portions of MySQL technology, was kind of changing owners very frequently. And we were wondering what would happen in the end. We were wondering, looking for clarity. And our fears, I think, have been at the highest level when Oracle acquired MySQL. And we were wondering, will Oracle kill MySQL as this kind of annoying competitor, or maybe they will turn it into proprietary MySQL technology? Well, we are very happy what none of this has happened. 3 years after Oracle have acquired Sun and gained control of MySQL, I believe we finally have a clarity about the MySQL future. And this future is bright. It may be different than what you would have expected 5 years ago or so, but I think it is great because what is the most important haven't changed. MySQL is still a great piece of technology, and it is evolving very rapidly to meet our needs. Now, MySQL releases under Oracle have been more stable and predictable than ever before. And we can see a lot of annoying, outstanding bugs have been fixed, and a lot of features which are badly needed by traditional MySQL users have been added. And just yesterday, Oracle have released the new development milestone for MySQL 5.6, which I think just looks absolutely amazing. There is a lot of very cool stuff happening with MySQL 5.6. And I just wanted to ask you to give Oracle the round of applause for that. That is a great stuff they're doing. OK. Well, MySQL has changed, though. When Oracle is driving MySQL as an open core plugin, as many of you know, with a number of features available only in proprietary Oracle. At the same time, I think Oracle has proven themselves to be a very general steward of MySQL, and majority of the features which are needed by traditional users are available in the open source edition. And we have to remember, right, what that doesn't have to be. I also would say that proprietary extensions for MySQL really have a good benefit for MySQL ecosystem as a whole. This validates a proprietary business model in the MySQL ecosystem. And as a result, we can see many technologies which are building proprietary solutions around MySQL or open core have really flourished over the last few years. And I think that is great for all of us to have both proprietary and open source choices. At the same time, as Oracle moved to this open core model, this provides the opportunity for a number of companies to come up with fully open source solutions. And we have three big MySQL alternatives. We have a Percona server, which is focused on providing best performance for multi-core systems and flash storage. We have MariaDB, which offers the most advanced MySQL optimizer to date. And we have a Drizzle, which features a pluggable architecture which allows for very quick innovation and solving your needs. MySQL continues to power most successful companies in the web, such as Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Box. And all those companies are constantly pushing MySQL limits and demanding more performance, more scalability, more ease of use. And by the way, all the named companies are going to talk on this conference and share with you some of their secrets or war stories. MySQL also is more than ever before used by Fortune 100 enterprise, and I believe which is driven by three important factors. First, when MySQL became Oracle-backed technology, that became approved for business-critical use for many enterprises, which are generally risk-averse. Second, we can see more and more enterprises are using web-based software or software-as-service solutions. And this is the market where MySQL have been traditionally very strong in. And finally, over time, MySQL matured and became perceived as stable and mature technology which can be trusted. That is great. MySQL wasn't designed as a cloud database. We all know, but I think MySQL adapted nicely. You can see what Amazon has been running very successful RDS servers, and we can see pretty much every major cloud providers have some support for MySQL in the cloud. We also have many startups which are working on technologies to make MySQL more successful, easy to use in the cloud, with automatic scaling, failovers, easy management, and so on and so forth. MySQL is also buzzword compatible with big data and NoSQL. And that comes as the fact that you can access MySQL using a number of NoSQL APIs these days. And you also have solutions for replicating your data between MySQL and NoSQL solutions. You can also have a number of MySQL storage engines like TokuDB, InfoBright, InfiniDB, which allows us to store more data in MySQL than ever before. So as a result, I believe that MySQL is here to stay. It continues to advance and evolve, and it is there to help us to deal with the most complicated problems the world throws at us. Over the next 2 days, we will learn a lot about those technologies and evolution, and from many people who are on the front line of this evolution. To hear more thoughts about the MySQL future, please come to the keynote at the Future of MySQL, where our diamond sponsors, the HP, Amazon Web Services, McAfee, Cluster, and Akiban will share you their thoughts about the MySQL future. OK, and on this note, let me call Baron here, who is, as Sarah told, is just a freaking amazing person. He is both developer, author, consultant, and, well, all the good stuff. So come on, Baron, come here and share your personal story with this conference.
Thank you, Peter. Good morning, everyone. This is a personal story. This is not really a technical keynote. I want to share with you a little bit about the journey that I've taken over the past few years, the past 6 years. This is my 6th MySQL conference. And I've taken that journey with you. And I want to convince you as well that you, in this room today, really hold the key to a better future through the power of technology, and that the people at this conference can help you to achieve that. So let's go back to 2005. I was a developer. I was not using MySQL. I was in a large Microsoft-only software development company, and I wasn't using open source at all. I didn't really have much joy or passion or interest in my work, in my career. I went to home, I went to work, I went home, I went back to work. It was kind of day after day. I lived for the weekends for rock climbing and things like that. And I wanted to use open source, and but I couldn't do that. I had a lot of nice people. It was a great company that I worked for. It was many nice people, and, but most of them didn't really identify with me, and I didn't really identify with most of them. There was one exception. His name was John Miller, and then he left the company, and I really felt like I was kind of on my own. My life was a little bit like the movie Office Space. Seriously, I was developing in Visual Basic 6 and ASP. A good day when I could really feel proud of my achievements was when I converted an intranet site from using nested tables for layout to using CSS for layout. And I was pretty much one of the only people who cared about that or felt proud about that. So I kept trying to push for open source in particular areas. I really felt the loss of open source since I had graduated from university. But people there were not friendly to that. In fact, some people went so far as to saying, I don't care what we use, as long as it's not free. So I asked for a wiki at one point, and I got SharePoint. Anybody know SharePoint? Yeah. So this really was kind of an office space sort of a situation. I started to interview around. I interviewed at the company where John Miller had gone to. This man, Alan Rim Kaufman, had founded that company. And Alan and I became very close. He became something of a mentor to me. And he encouraged me in many, many ways. He encouraged me to create open source software. The tools that I started to write, I joined him. It was a kind of a nervous sort of a transition because it was a new company that he had just founded. It was very uncertain. I was leaving a 30-year-old established company to work for a hot little startup that was using Linux, Apache, MySQL, and Perl. And, but Alan encouraged me. Alan said, you're writing these tools, why don't you open source them? Alan said, you're solving these cool things, you should blog about them. And then he would read my blogs, and he would come into the office, and Alan was a very energetic person. He'd bounce, and he'd go, that was a great blog post, Baron. And he would go, but you should have tagged it with the names of the people that you were talking about. So then Technorati would pick it up, and all of these people would love you for mentioning them on Technorati. And so he was just a really creative kind of a guy who was always full of energy and was always pushing me to achieve more. And in fact, Alan and John sent me to this conference in 2007. And then the year after that, Alan said, you know, Baron, you should work half-time here at work, and then you should spend the other half of your time working on this book. This is how the book got started. This is how the book got written. Peter and Vadim invited me to join the project, but this is how it got completed. So I was really pretty engaged and felt pretty active and pretty fulfilled in my career at this point. I was working hard at work and feeling satisfied, and then going home and working on stuff in the evenings. and communicating with people that I'd never met, and people would send me ideas or questions or whatever, and I'd blog about it or I'd write software about it, and then I'd share that. And I really considered myself to be a very lucky person. I was doing what I loved and loving what I did and getting paid for it. And what really made the difference in my life was a mentorship. Alan and John, one of the greatest gifts that they gave me as mentors in my life, now that I was working with both of them, was to send me to this conference. And this conference turned out to be more than any mentor could ever offer. This conference, mentors are people who can recognize what you're capable of that you don't recognize in yourself. They can push you beyond what you think is possible. They can help you to find a higher purpose in your life and to achieve that higher calling. And John and Alan recognized those things in me. They recognized that I was better than writing Visual Basic and ASP. They recognized that I was better than converting things from tables to CSS. And they pushed me beyond those limits, and they helped me to find a deeper purpose in my life. I believe all of us have that purpose. I believe that we're all needed, wanted, and irreplaceable in the world. I believe that mentors are there to help you recognize that and to push you towards that. And when Alan and John sent me to this conference in 2007, everything that I had been doing sort of in isolation, sitting in the office, but communicating with all of you over the internet, became much more real. I became connected to you in person. I met the people in person who were using the software that I had written or who had read my blog post and corresponded with me over email. And you magnified my energy. You magnified my ideas. Some of the best ideas that went into Percona Toolkit, the ones that I'm the proudest of, are not my own. Those came from people at this conference. And then I went home and worked really hard on those, and a year flew by, and then I was back here again, and it all happened again and again. And it just built from year to year to year into something better and better and better. And that's why I say I think I'm the luckiest man I know, because I'm doing what I love and loving what I do. And it's this virtuous circle that keeps going around and around. So we all need mentors. And in the movies, we know Rocky had Mickey, and Yoda was mentor to Luke. And then in this other movie called The Peaceful Warrior, based on a book called The Way of the Peaceful Warrior, Dan had Socrates. And these mentors helped them and encouraged them. And I was really lucky. I had not just one, John Miller, but two, Alan Rim-Kaufman. And they've just given me tremendous gifts. So now that we're all here, what should we do? In the movie, well, actually I haven't seen the movie, but in the book, The Way of the Peaceful Warrior, Socrates asks Dan a rhetorical question. He says, "Where are you?" And Dan starts to puzzle about that, and he doesn't quite get it. And Socrates says, "You're here. Wherever you are, that's where you are. You're here." And then he says, "And what time is it?" And that's another rhetorical question. The time is now. So we are here, and the time is now. This is perfect. The essence of living life to the fullest is to live in the here and the now, to be where you are, when you are, to be present right now. This is perfect. So now that we're here, what should we do? This, I think, is the really big question that faces all of us. And I have a proposition, and I'm going to propose something to you. But before I do, let me lay out a little bit of sort of a scenario or background. And this may sound a little bit corny or cheesy, but believe me, I mean it with all sincerity. In this room is the group of the most talented and creative and amazing people that I've ever had the privilege to meet. And I know this because year after year, amazing things have come out of this conference. Companies have been born at this conference. Products have been born at this conference. Ideas, businesses have sprung out of here. You people in this room are creative. You've got ideas I would never think of. You've got resources and connections and friendships that I don't have. You've got talents to solve hard problems that I don't know how to solve. And you're kind and you're helpful to each other. And I know this because all of this is what I have personally experienced here. And you've connected with me at this conference. So back to what do we do? I would argue that while we're here, we should use technology to solve the problems of the world as we can. And to do that, let me give you a little bit of a context. This is not the first time that this has happened at this conference. A few years back, we heard a keynote from Red Hat, who was supporting the One Laptop Per Child Foundation. And One Laptop Per Child is supposedly about increasing access to technology and education. But what did they actually do? They changed the laptop market forever. They fundamentally created a new category of laptops that we call netbooks today. And then there was a man who was the prime political candidate for the Swedish Pirate Party who gave us a keynote here a few years back. A man who uses technology and political activism to fight back against patent and copyright regimes. A very powerful mover and shaker in the world. And there was a man who was building a 100 petabyte database for analyzing scientific data. 100 petabyte database. And that project is still going. And they're using that to answer some of the longest and hardest and most persistent questions about the nature of the universe and science as we know it. So this is not the first time that people have come to this conference and used technology to create a better world. So I would say what we should do here at this conference, or what I would encourage you to do, is to find out what the world needs and find out what you have to offer, and then to put those things together and find out where they overlap and then work on that. This does not need to be some sort of giant project like trying to create access to clean water for children in sub-Saharan Africa. It can be something much more mundane, like creating a better management tool for backups, something that enables others to move more powerfully in the world and to achieve more. To do this, we're going to need a lot of things. We're going to need hard work. We'll need creativity. We'll need patience. We'll need ideas. But more than anything else, we will need each other. And that's where this conference comes in. You are the heroes in this conference. This is about you. This is you connecting with other people. And so I challenge you to find someone in this room who needs you, because I guarantee you there's someone in this room who needs you. And to find someone in this room that you need, because again, you need people here. You need people, and people need you. And I challenge you to connect with each other and to find new friends, to make these new connections, and to use those to achieve and to find your purpose in life and make the most of it. You know, let's be here, let's be now. Let's make the most of our time together. Thank you.